All right, I'm having a little bit more trouble with recordings today, so I'm going to kind of be talking a little fast, all right, because it seems like the longer I go, the harder it is to record. But again, excuse me, if you have any questions, you can comment to me and I'll try to clarify for you. Today we want to talk about something called a pyramid and something called a cone. Now, a pyramid is sort of like a rectangular prism, except in a rectangular prism, the sides go straight up, okay? And you wind up actually with 6 sides, and each side is like a rectangle. Or if it's a cube, each side is a square, all right? In a pyramid, instead of the sides going straight up, the sides angle up to a point, which I've always heard it referred to as a vertex, but when I was looking at the formal definition, they referred to it as an apex, okay? And it's a point that all the sides converge on. And you can see the sides are not rectangles anymore, the sides are triangles. Anyway, today we want to try to find out the volume of this. Now again, if you were to look at a rectangular prism and at a pyramid that have the same exact size base, they were made like that on purpose, and I was asking you which one has the most volume, which could you fill more in, there's no question people would say rectangular prism. But the question is, how much less is this than this? How many times more can I fit in here than there? And that's why we have an experiment here. I have a bucket of water, and we're going to try to see. Because I'm going to fill up this. That took 1. That took 2. And that took 3. And by the way, I was spilling a little bit of water. If I was doing it exact, and they had those little things on the side, it would actually be 3 of these for 1 of those. So what that means is that this is 3 times as much as this. So if I know how to find the volume of this, how could I find something that's 1/3 of that? And that would be either take 1/3 times it, or you could divide by 3. So the volume of a pyramid, okay, is equal to, you could say it one of 2 ways. 1/3 times the length times the width times the height. Or you could say length times width times height divided by 3. Because to take 1/3 of something, you divide it by 3. So that's the formula for volume of a pyramid. Now, a cone is very similar, because just like a pyramid, a cone goes up to 1 point. The difference is the base of a cone is circular like a cylinder. And again, you can see that these have the same size circle. So the question is, you can also see that a cone does not fill up as much area. So the question is, what part is it? And again, if you were to take a guess, I bet you would guess 1/3. Let's see if that's true. All right, again, fill this up and see how many of these it takes to fill this up. All right, that would be 1. That would be 2. And that would be 3. And that time I was very careful to try to make sure I didn't spill any. And you can see that it took 3 of these for 1 of those. So once again, this is 3 times as much as this is, or this is 1/3 of what that is. So again, how could you find the volume of a cone? You could take 1/3 the volume of a cylinder. And remember, a cylinder is pi times the radius squared times the height. So the volume of a cone, not a cylinder, sorry. The volume of a cone is pi times the radius squared times the height divided by 3. Now again, 2 things to note about volume of cones and about volumes of pyramids. And that is, number 1, it's volume, so it's always a cubic measurement. So we were doing volume, and then we went to surface area, and then we're going back to volume. And again, volume is always cubic because you're trying to fill in a three-dimensional figure, fill in the inside of it. And surface area is squared because it's the area around the outside of it. All right? So volume of a cylinder is a cubic measurement. And the other thing that you need to know is if you know the formula, you just plug the values in and you work it out. So this is the last formulas I'm going to give you. I'll wind up giving you a sheet with all the formulas on it, all right? And again, we'll wrap up with all this geometry and then move on to some integers after this. So you will have an IXL assignment on this. You will have a skills test with all the different formulas on it, okay? And then we'll move on. So I think we made it through.